It kicked me out the time.
Yeah, this thing, I forgot to tell you that the Zoom is taking us out after 40 minutes. So we need to log in again at that time.
Okay. So you were saying the the +9 times the -8.
Exactly. So the same thing, you have to do the same thing as you do for the numerator, as you did for the numerator. You multiply the two things in the same way you multiply the two things here in the denominator. -8 times -8 will be +64. -8 times -9i will be +72i. +9i times -8 will be
-72.
-72i, because they're having I there. And then 9i times -9i will be
-81
-81 what? Only
I
81? I or I
squared.
squared? That's the
So
thing. You have to be very cautious here.
I
So I squared will be,
81 times -1,
right, how much will that be?
81.
Positive 81.
Right.
Now, what else can you do in the denominator?
The 64 is minus the 72. So that's -8.
Think about it again. You have to
Oh,
do
oh,
combination of the
um,
like terms. You cannot
that
combine
that's the
anything.
right. That's the I. So those two cancel out each other.
Mm-hmm.
Or yeah, they cancel out each other. So it's just the 64 plus 81.
Right. How much is that?
Let's see. It is 145. 145.
And that's the denominator. Did you have it written what is in the numerator? What we got in the numerator?
It was -29 minus 87i.
So see here, this is the division of the two imaginary numbers, which was 7 plus 3i and -8 plus 9i. When you divided the two, you got this answer. But the answer can be in a little bit different form. See the form. The form can be, if you're having 145 in division, you can give this to both of them,
Mm-hmm.
-29 also, and -87 also.
Mm-hmm.
So this can also be written in this form.
Okay.
And sometimes the question is, if the division of the two imaginary numbers is equal to a plus bi, what is a? What is b? It's simple. A is the real number, this one, -29 over 145. And b is the imaginary part, which is related with I. It's -87 over 145.
Okay.
So you're getting it completely, right?
So if it was that kind of question, I would have the real numbers for the A, and then for the
Yeah,
B would
you will be taking the real part as the A
Mhm.
and the imaginary part as the B. That's it.
Okay. So what to do with that? So the I is just goes with the B, right?
I goes with the B, exactly. I goes with the B, but B is not including I. I remains with B. B times I will be there always. But if they're telling you only what is the value of B only, so you'll not be taking I at that time. You'll be taking the value of B only, and that's -87 divided by 145.
Okay.
That's the thing. So A is -29 over 145, and B is -87 divided by 145. So
Mm-hmm.
that is how the questions can come for the imaginary numbers.
Okay.
Multiplication, division, subtraction, addition. Everything is completely cleared, right?
Mhm. Yes.
So what you need to do is you can do some examples of division. Maybe I can write one example. You can try as a homework. 2 plus 3i divided by 7 minus 6i. So you have to do division of these two numbers and write the answer in the form of a plus bi, and calculate the value of a, calculate the value of b, and after that, calculate the value of a plus b.
Okay.
This will be the homework for you.
Okay, I'm writing this down.
Okay.
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 So you want me to do that problem right now, or?
No, you can do that as a homework, after our
Okay.
session. Yeah,
Okay.
before our next session. Okay.
All right.
And one more question which I want to give for the first question, which is similar to the first question, will be a combination of an equation. For example, it'll be -3 times 2x minus 7 plus 8 divided by 4 equals 3/4 x. So you have to solve for x here. Oh,
Okay.
this is the question. Solve for x.
Okay.
So let's go to the third question now. One second. Okay. So what answer you got for question number 3?
C.
I think so. You're right. Can you tell me how?
So it said 5 hours. So the first part was for 5 hours. So that will go for the first part. And then it said for each amount of hours. So adding it, multiplying, that would be multiplication because at
Right,
each,
exactly.
and then the total number is adding. So I just did the first part of the question because the 5 was first. So I did 5m plus 4p to represent, because 5 represents the messages, and then 4 represents
5 represents the messages, 5 represents the number of hours, m represents the messages. So the total will be, since there are m messages per hour for 5 hours, so it'll be like 5 times m. And it is p messages each hour for 4 hours. So it's p times 4 or 4 times p. So 5m plus 4p. But one more strategy which I can show you here is whenever you are having variables in the questions and variables in the answers. The first part was what? The first question was whenever you're having variables in the questions and the answers in the options. There you were using plug it in, you remember?
Yeah.
But in case of question number 3, if you're having any question related with this, for example, there's variable in the question and there's variable also in the options, then the strategy is make it real.
Okay.
Make it real means take some real values for m and p and check out what is the actual number of messages and plug in those values of m and p in the options and see where you are getting the answer. For example, on Saturday afternoon, Armand sent, let's take the value of m as something.
Okay.
Can you give me some value for m?
2.
Anything. Armand sent 2 text messages each hour for 5 hours. So how many is he sending in 5 hours?
10.
10. Tyrone sent P text messages each hour. So let's give me P something.
3.
So 3 text messages each hour for 4 hours. So what's the total?
12.
So what's their total, Armand and Tyrone?
10
of the arm, 22, exactly, 22. So we need the answer as 22 for m equals 2 and p equals 3. Let's take 9 times 2 times 3. Is that 22?
Yes.
No, it's not. Option
I'm
A.
sorry. No.
Option A, it's not. 9 times 2 times 3. It's not 22, right?
No.
Let's check out option B. 20 times m is 2 and p is 3. Is that 22?
No.
No, it's not. Okay, 5 times 2 plus 4 times 3. Is that 22?
Yes.
That's the answer. 4 times 2 plus 5 times 3. Is that 22?
No.
So that's why you can use the make it real strategy wherever you're having the variables in the questions and the variables in the answers.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes this thing also becomes easier to write it in the variable form, but a person gets stuck somewhere sometime, like person
Mm-hmm.
is not clear like what to do. At that time, it becomes easy for plugging in the numbers for M and P, plugging the numbers for the variables and checking out which option is giving you that answer which you need,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we have understood two strategies till now. That is, whenever you're having the variables in the question and the answers in the options, plug it in.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you're having the variables in the questions and the variables in the answers, variables in the options, then make it real.
Okay. So in equations like this, I can add like any kind of numbers into the equation.
Anything,
Okay.
anything. You can try even for M and P anything else, and you will still get the answer.
Okay.
Okay, we'll have a few other questions also. So, and one more thing which we understood today is how to divide the imaginary numbers,
Mm-hmm.
multiply, add, subtract, and so on.
Okay. I wrote those down at examples.
Great. So let's go for question number 4. What you got the answer for 4?
Let me see. B. I wasn't too sure on this, but I put B.
You're right.
Oh, okay.
You are absolutely right. So you have all the 4 questions correct, which maybe you were not sure, but still you got them correct.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, when you're having big English written here, then you have to break it and you have to understand each and every part of it. Then only you'll be able to get the answer. So that's why whenever I'm having a verbal sentence, big thing written there, I try to understand it in parts. I don't read it in one go. I just read it in parts. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Kathy is a repair technician for a phone company. Okay. Each week she receives a batch of phones. So she's receiving some batch of phones every week that needs repairs. For example, if she's receiving 100 phones that
Mm-hmm.
needs repairs, so she has to complete the job in 1 week. So maybe she might be completing like maybe 15 or 20 phones per day, maybe 20 phones. So if she's completing 20 phones a day, then on the first day she'll be left with 80. And then again 20 phones she'll be repairing the next day. She's left with 60. The
Mm-hmm.
third day 20, she was left with 40, and so on. So the number, which is the number of phones which are to be repaired, if that is 100, that gets decreased 80 and 60 and 40 and so on every day.
Mm-hmm.
So, and number of repairing, like the number of phones repaired depends on how many days she has taken. Like if that's day 1, she has repaired only 20. If that's day 2, she has repaired a total of 20 times 2, right? If that's day 3, she has repaired a total of 20 times 3 and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I understood till now. And then they're telling you the number of phones that she has left to fix at the end of each day. That means if she has completed few phones, then other phones which are left for fixing can be estimated with the equation P equals 108 minus 23D.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make it more clear, if this is the number of phones which she has left every day, maybe day 1 or day 2 or day 3, why not to put D as 0 and understand what does that mean? P equals 108 minus 23 times 0. So 20, so this is over. So P equals 108. That means when I'm starting, I'm not completing any day. I'm having how many phones? I have not started yet because I have put in D as 0. D0
Right.
means even day 1 is not complete, right?
Right.
So when D is 0, I'm getting P as 108. What does that
Mm-hmm.
mean? I'm starting with
108 phones.
exactly, and that's what
Okay.
your
Okay.
answer was.
Okay, I get that.
And then D, you can take like maybe D is 1. That means after completion of 1 day, she is left with 108 minus 23. After completion of
Okay.
day 2, she's left with 108 minus 23 times 2. After completion
Okay.
of day 3, she's left with 108 minus 23 times 3, and so on.
Okay.
And that's it. What's the meaning of 23 here?
The amount of days.
Think about it again. D is the number of days.
So that's the hours. Wait, hold on.
What
That's
is
how
this?
many batches of phones.
How many?
Batches of phones.
Of
Isn't
what?
that
Like
the number of batches of phones?
batches of phones of what? Like what is like 23 representing? Batch of phones of what? Like a total number of phones, or
Oh yeah. The total number of phones that she's receiving.
but you told me that she's receiving 108 phones in total.
Oh, so let me go back through the problem.
Yeah, read it, think about it, tell me. Because the question can come, maybe
So
108, maybe 23.
the number that she has left to fix, or is that the amount? Wait, hold on, because you wrote the 20. The amount of phones is 108.
First, you just read it from this point till the end, once again.
So these number of days worked. So 23 will represent the phones that she has left.
But what is P?
P is the number of phones. Oh, okay. I didn't. Okay, I'm like skipping over it and like figuring out where the 23 fits. That's why I'm not like picking up like where the 108 has went. So these number of days
You got
that's
to
left.
forget everything. Just focus on this equation. P is number of phones left each, like maybe after 1 day, 2 day, 3 day,
So
number of phones
that's the
left.
number of phones that she's fixed.
Which is the number of phones that she has fixed?
The 23.
23 is the number of phones that she has fixed. You are very close, but she has fixed in every day. Like every
Oh,
day,
oh.
she fixes 23 phones.
Okay.
She starts with 108 on
Right.
the day 1 of the week. So she starts with 108, and then if it's like first day, she is completing 23 phones on day 1, and she's completing like uh, in day 2 it'll be 23 times 2. She has completed 23 times 2 phones in 2 days. In 3 days she has completed 23 times 3, and so on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I just picked
23.
up like what you were saying because I looked back into the equation. It said so D is days, so that means the phones will have to be each day. Okay.
Exactly, good. So 23 is the number of phone that she's fixing per day, every day. That's right. That's wonderful. So even, do you know the slope intercept form of an equation, linear
Y
equation?
equals mx plus b.
Exactly. Y equals mx plus b. You can represent this equation also in this form. Y equals mx plus b. Y
Mm-hmm.
is b equals, since b is a constant, it's a number, so we'll be writing 108 for b.
Mm-hmm.
And mx is negative 23d, negative 23d plus 108. So y is b, m is negative 23, x is d, b is 108.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because this thing also gives you information here. It tells you, since in an equation, if you're having y equals mx plus b form, and if you're having equation like this, doesn't that mean this point here is y-intercept?
Mm-hmm.
And if this is y-intercept, it'll be represented by b, right?
Right.
And We take this as x, we take this as y. And doesn't this negative 23 mean that it's a slope,
Mm-hmm.
rise over run?
Right.
So if you take negative 23 over 1, doesn't that mean you're going down 23 and
Oh.
running 1?
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yes, I do.
Down 23 and running 1. But the slope is change in the y divided by change in the x, rise over run, isn't it?
Yes.
So can't this 23 be related to P and D? Isn't this then negative 20 as change in the P divided by change in the D?
Right.
So negative 23 is actually the change in the P divided by change in the D. So P is, but it's negative 23 over 1. So if you're having day, like each day 1 means each day, D is 1, then the number of phones which she's repairing is 23.
Mm-hmm.
Are you getting? So this is also giving us an
Yeah.
idea of that every day she's repairing 23 phones. That is what the slope means.
Right.
And the y-intercept means the point where she's getting started. She's starting at 108
Mm-hmm.
and then decreasing 23 every day
Right.
till the end of the week. And then at the end of the week, she's left with 0 phones. Like
Mm-hmm.
the y value will be 0 at that time in the end of the week. You understand?
Yes.
So there will be questions which will be having a relationship between with the the equation y-intercept form or the quadratic equation y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So we have to understand these equations, in real life scenario. We have to understand how can we correlate those two things, the equation which is y equals mx plus b and the real life scenarios of that, real
Mm-hmm.
life examples. What does that mean? What does the slope in real life mean? What does the y-intercept in real life mean? What is the y and x in real life mean? We should be able
Mm-hmm.
to relate the things,
Right.
that because those questions come in the SAT.
Okay.
Okay, so then we can stop, I think.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Oh, yeah. You had one out. I picked up what you were saying, but I was just saying that you had one out a couple of seconds ago.
Couple of.
A couple of seconds ago, you had one out. Like I couldn't hear, but it came back, and I picked up what you were
Oh,
saying. Mm-hmm.
okay. I was saying that um, when we are having this equation in y equals mx plus b form, we
Mm-hmm.
should be able to relate these equations to the real life scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
Because the questions will not be directly giving you, hey, m is 10, b is 20, what is the equation? No, they'll be giving you a real life example, and you have to analyze how can I fit in, how can I relate this equation with that real life. What does the slope in that real life mean? What does the x in the real life mean? What does the y in that real life example mean? What is the
Mm-hmm.
b in that real life? You understand? And for example, in
Yeah.
this equation, you should be able to analyze like 108 is actually the slope, is actually the y-intercept. Negative 23 is actually the slope. It's negative, it's going down. That means
Mm-hmm.
every day, the number of phones which are repaired, every day, the number of phones which are left are decreasing,
Right.
right? So negative means something, positive means something. Negative 23 is multiplied with a variable. Negative 23 gives you the slope. 108
Mm-hmm.
gives you the y-intercept, and so on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you have to analyze the real life things with the equation. Maybe the
Okay.
equation is y equals mx plus b, or the equation can be y equals like x squared plus bx plus c. You remember? This
Mm-hmm.
is quadratic equation. And this can also come in the real life problem. But we'll be solving that also, we'll be understanding that also, no problem in that. But we will be doing examples more and more, and so that we can have more connection of the equations with the real life problems, and we'll be able to understand them properly. Any confusion anywhere?
No, I think I'm getting all of this because I wrote down when we were going through each of the problems. So I'm
Amazing.
pretty solid on these.
Great. And anything which comes in relation with, like, related to this, that should also be clear, isn't it? Like that should also be having, you should be able to do them, right?
Right. So in this real life equation for four, I could replace the P equals 108 with
Exactly.
okay,
Right.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I wrote that down.
Good. Very good. So we have understood, I think, a few of the things today, and we'll be doing the same thing for our other questions. But if you have not completed this test paper yet, you can
Mhm.
complete it. Okay.
Okay.
How many questions are left?
Um, I didn't finish the second part of it because I just seen there was a second part of it. I didn't finish that part.
So will you be trying second part of it before our next session?
Yes, I'm gonna have that completed by then. Gonna
Because
finish that.
why? Because that'll be giving us an idea of what is the, score presently. Maybe that can be 400, 300, whatever that is, zero. I don't care. But we have to start from that point and reach to the perfect, near to the perfect score at least, because we're having good amount of time, so we can focus on that. Because
Okay.
it all depends on clearing of the concepts. If we understand the concepts, if we understand the questions, if we understand, the basics, then we can do anything, and you are able to understand everything. So there's no problem in that. You will
Mhm.
be able to reach to the very high level. So provided you do, continuous analysis and revision also what we have
Mhm.
learned in the session. You should be revising the things and applying the things in the questions which are coming in the next test papers. Then definitely it'll be a huge boom.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll be doing the we can discuss about the next session in our like Fiverr or anything, or we can see how many sessions we'll be giving, every week and everything. And accordingly, we'll be scheduling the sessions per week, right?
Mhm.
And if possible, then we can connect on WhatsApp also, because the Fiverr communication is so problematic, it
Mhm.
it gives us so much problems. So if possible for you, if you're having WhatsApp, or if your mother is having WhatsApp, then she can message on this number, or I
Okay.
can message if you give the number. Then at least it becomes more faster. The communication becomes more easier.
Okay. I'm gonna give this to her.
Okay then. So how was the session? Like how
I
was
think it went really well because going over the imaginary numbers, I think that gave me some intel on the imaginary numbers because it's just a good refresher and being able to do those problems.
great?
Really,
And what about those strategies? Like, do you think that they're helpful?
yeah, because when I think it's good because you added just how you added like the mx plus b, like I understand that very well. So it's like when you added it back into the problem, like I seen it like visually.
Okay, great. That's wonderful. Okay then, so we'll be stopping here and we'll be meeting the next session. We'll be discussing about it, confirming the slots, and then we can move forward.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much for today.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.